Okay, good morning, guys. Could you just confirm whether you all can hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear.
Right. Okay. Great. Right. Morning, guys. Right. Great. Okay. See, uh, now this session is going to be. When I say this session, I'll be conducting another session as well. So I'm planning to work out through your fundamentals of the strategy foundation, strategies very quickly to to recap what you all have done. I'm sure most of you all would have followed the classes and sessions to go off with. So I just want you all to recap certain things and probably pick up uh, certain things how you could apply what you all have learned. So that's my task on the first part of the session, what is going to be. Then on the second session, we will talk about the case and the linkages with the case itself, and we will try to dig a little bit more into detail and see where this organization uh, could head applying what we have learned in today's session. And then we will talk about the options what you have, what are the on which way the organization could grow further. Uh, because looking at your uh, uh, the papers and the questions which has appeared in the past, uh, it always presents a challenge to the students to come out with a growth proposition to the organization. Yeah. Either way that they are into trouble, or they are struggling, or they want to look on a new dimension, a new value proposition. So that's a challenge that it is posed to the students when it comes to the this Casify paper. So that's where this differs, and this goes as a top level your final paper, because it gives a holistic picture. You need to realize, guys, that you all have done enough of your accounting. Okay, you all have done enough of your finances. You all have done enough of your what do you call the controls and everything. That's fine. Now you need to turn a little bit more onto the managerial aspect of it, right? So yes, finance is going to take certain marks out of this, the final paper. But if you see, it's comparatively with the management per se of the paper, it's very limited. Okay, so therefore, my humble advice is, with my experience, I think this is maybe my I think maybe the 18th or 19th seminar session what I'm conducting. So with that experience, I'm requesting you all to more focus on the management aspect of it. Try and understand and prove that you all are a manager rather than an accountant. Yeah. So and management at a top level, not at the middle level, at the C-suite managerial candidates. That's a kind that CA wants their candidates to be in the coming years. Okay, so therefore that's why this syllabus is also set on that perspective. Um, Recognizing that, yes, knowing about the numbers, knowing about the accounting practices, knowing about the controls is very important, but on the other aspect of it, that you should be able to contribute and be a person who makes the decision in the management per se as well. Yeah, so that's the whole idea behind. So keep that in back of your mind. Yeah, always try and think of that nature. You all have a very big advantage because you all know your accounting, you all know your numbers, you all know your the ratios, you all know your accounting treatments and everything, that you all know better than me. Yeah, so that's the advantage that you all have, right? So I will not be talking much on the financial perspective. I'll be talking more towards the um, management perspective in this particular case to go through. Yeah, right. Saying that, if you look at the strategic management per se, um, this includes the understanding of where you stand. Now, if you take yourself, okay, if you take yourself as an example, if you want to grow, yeah, if you want to grow either on your career wise or even in your life, yeah, if you want to grow, probably you should understand where you stand now. When I say where you stand now, that's your strategic position. Yeah. For you to understand internally your strengths and weaknesses, what you have and what you don't have. Yeah. Probably that's one of the reasons that you all are doing this qualification as well. Yeah. So to fulfill that, where you want to go. So realizing that, you all need a good professional qualification to back you up, and which is recognized, highly recognized in Sri Lanka as well as in other parts of the world. So knowing that now you all are getting into this particular qualification to go off it. Yeah. So that is your identification of yourself on that perspective. Then on the soft skill aspect of it, if you see, do you have enough presentation skills on? Do you have the analytical skills? Do you have the number crunching aspect of it? Do you understand what the general business environment is looking at? I'm talking onto a respecting you all to be on the C-suite level. Yeah. So so then if it is not, then you should be able to get that the skills required. So now for that you should be able to understand who you are, where do you stand, and also in the environmental perspective outside your purview. Now the internally who you are, what you have, what you don't have is all within your control, because you should be able to acquire it, and you will know what you have and what you don't have, and you have a total control of yourself. But something what is presented from the external perspective that you don't have any control over. Yeah. For example, the dollar fluctuation, it is not fluctuating, it is fixed, and but of course it just jumped almost to a double, within a day, right? Then you don't have any control over, unless otherwise you'd have predicted and forecasted and things like that. So the cost of living increasing onto high double digits, you totally have no control over it, because that is presented to you externally. Yeah. And then the pricing is a problem. Yeah. So whether you could manage with your present salary is an issue, right? So now the environmental factors are also impacting the job market shrinking, the opportunities shrinking because of because of the pandemic. Most of the organizations have realized that most part of the jobs could be done online without physically people presenting. Yeah. So that has started affecting even the migration processes, right? Because people want they want heads to be there, to do the work technically. You don't need to be there. Yeah, so you can do certain things. If it is not physical work, then you can do it online. Yeah, so wherever you're located. So you don't need people to be present over in that particular location, right? So you could see already in Sri Lanka, there are plenty of people have got into those type of jobs. I personally know there are a lot of my friends who have got into a lot of UK timings, UK based jobs, and been paid in pounds, which is pretty good. And there are people who have already got into the US based jobs, which has been paid in dollars. So because otherwise you have to be there, but you don't need to be there. So the organizations don't have a problem of getting the people to come and work in the organization. They can always do that. Now, these are all externally presenting challenges, yeah, which you don't have. Similarly, as an organization, always remember, whatever the case that you're going through with, okay, whatever the case that you're looking at currently, the organization, what is in question today, in this particular time, the case, yeah, whether the climatic changes could hamper the tea manufacturing sector, whether the aging population could impact the healthcare sector, which you don't have much of a control. Yeah, you don't have major control. But in the meanwhile, you should be able to control your people who have the ability to produce the best of teas. Yeah. So we see that the organization is struggling, right? So now this is how you do the internal analysis to understand how and what is happening in my organization to work off with, right? So then you end of the day, you will produce a nice matrix, which everybody knows in and out, I believe, which is SWOT, which comprises strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Yeah. So when you go on, I will explain to you all furthermore. Now, from that particular perspective, then you create choices. The choices comes in when you have more than one option. If you have only one way to do things, then there is no choice. Okay. So if you have more than one option, then you have choices to make. Then you have the choices. So you have to make a choice. So choices could be like, you need to decide like which market you are going to operate, what is the product that you are going to carry on with fundamentally. Yeah. How are you going to grow? Whether you are going to grow organically or inorganically, right? Or you are going to go on the strategic alliance. How are you going to take it overseas? Whether the internationalization strategy, what is the strategy that I'm going to use off with? Yeah. What is the portfolio that I'm going to maintain? Whether I look at my BCG matrix and I identify whether I have too much of problem children or stars or cash cows or dogs. So what is the portfolio that my organization will look at to manage it? Do I have the expertise to manage these things? Now that's an internal perspective that you're asking for. Yeah. So now these are the choices that you can create for your organization when you understand who you are, where do you stand with internally and external analysis, what you do, right? And then you need to implement it. Yeah. A plan is very good. Yeah, that's what one of the authors have said. Planning is excellent, but the plan need to be implemented. If the plan is not implemented, planning is a waste. Yeah, and definitely plan is a waste because plan does not stay as a plan. Yeah, so every strategy could be totally different. You can have a plan strategy, but then there could be emergent strategies coming in, like what Mintzberg talked about, right? So now this is the entire perspective which I'm trying to attempt to quickly cover in this particular session, what we are going to do. Yeah. So for that, I'm sure most of you are very familiar with this model. This is the corporate strategy model by Johnston, Britton, and Scholes. I know this in and out because I was involved in your preparation of your syllabus. So then exactly this is the model what we used off with. So I'm sure most of you all will know what this is. So this is what I've been talking about. You're looking at a strategic position. You're looking through environment. You're looking through your capabilities. You're looking at your culture, what you are built on with, how do you do things here, and also the purpose, your vision, mission. Yeah. Then from that particular point to look at your strategic choices, either on business level strategy. Business level is a competitive strategy, whether you go on a cost leadership or differentiation or focus. So focus is divided into two: focus, differentiation, and cost focus. Yeah. So, and when it goes to the corporate level, you are looking at the perspective of your product market. What is the market you're going to operate? What is the product that you're going to work off with? Your portfolio, your internationalization strategies, your growth strategies, Yeah, all those aspects will come on the corporate level. There's the international, as I said, like whether you want to go on just as a export organization, or you just want to have a separate department for yourself, or you want to do the extreme, go and invest over or look for a FDI, right? Then your innovation, and then your evaluation, the type of evaluation that you want to go through with. Then your implementation, yeah, the strategy in action, yeah. So whether you have to change your processes, whether you have to change your organization, whether you want to change your resourcing, whether you want to what type of change that you are looking at, yeah. So now this is exactly the strategic model which will go through it, right? So the strategic question, as I explained earlier, this will involve the impact of your strategy, whatever you're creating, how the external environment is going to impact, right? So that's why you need to understand external environment, because it's very important. It's very important because you don't have any control over the external environment. That's a fundamental point that you need to identify. Most of the students make this mistake. They talk about the SWOT as an internal analysis. It's not an internal analysis. It's an organization analysis. It is not an analysis. Basically, it's a matrix, because it comprises two types of analysis. One is an external analysis, which you will use your PESTEL framework or ScanStep or whatever to identify the external perspective, the environmental aspect of it. You will look into your, you will be using your Porter's 5 forces to recognize your industry, analyze the industry perspective. Yeah, and also you'll be looking at the your immediate market, immediate neighbors who are actual competitors, direct competitors, as well as your strategic customers. Yeah, so that's what you use, and which will give you the opportunities and threats when you do your external analysis, right? Remember that, please. Yeah, don't get mixed up. So your external analysis, which you don't have any control over, external to the organization, and which will produce O and T, right? That is the opportunities and threats. Your strategic capability, the organizational capability of part of it, yeah, internally, that will give you the who you are internally, yeah, right? Internally, what is your strength? What is your weakness? Yeah, probably we can use the value chain analysis to the tool would help us to understand what are the things that we are doing right, what are things that we are not doing so good. Yeah, very easy. So that we will know what is our strengths, where do we score high, and where we are not scoring high, and where we have to improve, all the problems what we face off with, right? Now, it's good to understand the stakeholders who are involved in the organization. So they also become, because the stakeholders are external and internal. So your customers, your employees, the people who are involved in the organization, people who get affected by your organization decision, they are the stakeholders. So to understand them, yeah, what do they expect? Because fundamentally, when you're making a decision, you should realize that the stakeholders comes with their own agenda. Okay, take yourself as employees, right? We go into the organization with our own agenda. What is the agenda? We want a very good salary and annual increase. If you want, like if you can get a monthly increase, that also we will prefer. Okay, we want a super remuneration package to work off with. Fundamentally, what will be the management's decision? They want to keep the cost at minimum so that they can show the higher profits and they could get better bonuses. Yeah. What will be the your shareholders' wish? They would want better profits. Yeah. They would want to minimize the cost maximum as possible. Yeah. Get the highest possible profit, so that they will know exactly that they are getting the best return out of the investment. What does the customer wants? He wants a lower price with high quality. Possible to manage? What is the organization's strategy on that? Whether it is possible to manage and reduce the cost. So that's what we do on internal analysis to see whether our processes are good, Yeah. An external analyst is to understand that whether we are giving out a cheaper product at a affordable price at a very high quality product. Can we understanding the market will tell us whether what we are our pricing strategy is right or the marketing mix is right or wrong. Yeah. So now these are the questions that you need to ask of it. Now, guys, when I talk to you all, when I say these things, I want you all to jot it down so that you all. I'm sure each and every one of you have gone through your case, right? Identify and pick. Identify and pick what I'm saying. Whether if you have already done a SWOT, great, brilliant. But if you have not done a SWOT, it's high time to get things done, and try and identify the linkage, what you can do with those elements that you have identified. Because no point just having a SWOT in your paper. Okay, you should be able to know what do I do with those. Yeah, you should be able to understand what do I do with those. How do I create those strategies to work off with what do I have. What are the choices that I'm going to make of it? That's very, very important. So for that, you need to understand your stakeholders' expectations also, right? What are the government wants? Government wants a peaceful environment, a peaceful labor relationship, many jobs as possible to the mass for the people. They've been paying the right wages to them according to the regulations. Pay the statutory dues, right? Your EPF, ETFs, your gratuities, yeah, whatever the legal requirements to be paid off with. So they want a decent operation, which will give them the taxes as well, right? So that's what they want, right? So then, as long as that is being provided, they are going to be happy about it. So you put yourself in front and you tell them, look, we manage our businesses ethically. We treat our employees very well. We pay them. These are the profits that we are making. These are taxes that we pay. Government is going to be very happy with that, right? So that's what they want. So if there's going to be automation, because the reduction in the operational cost, then people are going to lose jobs. What are you going to do for them? The government will be worried with that, right? So now these are the things that you would understand in your current position. What are the challenges that I'm going to face? What are the strengths and weaknesses what I have? What is the expectation of my stakeholders? Probably I can categorize my stakeholders with Mendelow's window, power and interest, to identify and cater to their requirement, because you need to prioritize whom you are going to serve first. Okay, for the people who are married, definitely you all will know that you have your spouse as a priority, right? Probably if you have kids now, maybe the youngest will be the priority to you. The priority changes. Okay. Others also important, but then somebody will be more important, because so then you will be catering their need first before the others need. Yeah, and in the process, the order of prioritization also could change with time. Yeah, probably immediately when you have the moment you got married, probably the prioritization would be focusing on your spouse only. But then when the family is enlarged and people around you come in, then the priority changes, yeah, over the time. Same with the organization. Okay, same with the organization. So you need to identify who will be your topmost important people, because this could change. Yeah, this could change according to time, according to the situation. This could change. Absolutely, it could change. Right. Right. So that's your strategic position. Those are the areas. Then your strategic choices involves understand the base of the future strategy. As I said, whether it's on business level, which is the competitive level, and the corporate level, which you need to think of the growth and how you're going to expand. So this is the options what we have. So we will go through models which will give us a good background of understanding. Then the strategy in action, which is, I said, how it's going to practically implement it. So you have, if you need to work on your structure, if you need to work on your processes, if you need to work on your change. Now, this is something that, I picked up with in relevance to what you have in your case. So probably these areas will be much more relevant. Of course, the innovation also will be coming in. So we'll be touching upon a little bit on the innovation as well. So now this is the checklist, what I want you all to have and what I want you all to remember, so that you all will find answers, whatever the case, not only this particular case, even in your real life, in your work organization life, that if you identify these 14 fundamental questions, then probably you should be able to identify what strategy, how do you want to grow and things like that. So the environmental opportunities and threats, the organization's strengths and weaknesses, why you operate, that's your vision and mission, okay? And what is your culture? So the 4 areas, right? That's your strategic position. The next 5 questions will be strategic choices. So how should business units compete? Your business level strategy is all about the competitive strategies. What you should be having in your business portfolio. How are you going to compete internationally? The how organization innovates. Then whether the organization grow by itself, or whether it allies it, whether it is merge, acquire, or whether it's going to go on a strategic partnerships, right? Then obviously, once you develop a strategy, you should be able to understand whether it is suitable, whether it is acceptable, whether it is feasible. So it's like the safe criteria, what type of process that you need, what are the structures that you need to change. So what type of changes that you work off with. So these 14 questions would give you overall perspective on any case or any real life situation that to formulate your strategy, what you want to do. So let's look at the strategic position quickly. Okay, I'm not going to go through very on a quick perspective, right? So when you look at the environmental aspect of it, obviously you all know it's PESTEL framework. You're talking about PESTEL aspect of it, where you understand the macro aspect of it, then the industry aspect of it, and the competitor aspect of it. So let me quickly give you the next one, which is your strategic purpose to cover off, right? Your governance, your structure, your stakeholder expectation, your social responsibility and ethics, which will cover your strategic purposes, right? So when you look at your environmental aspect of it, right? The macro environment, the industry environment, and your competitor environment. The macro environment, you have the PESTEL and your key drivers. I'm just quickly going through, guys. If you all are going to, if you all are not be able to understand, or you need any clarification, just hold me on so that I can explain to you all further. I just want to remind you all what are the connections that you're all going to work off with. That's my attempt here. And your key drivers. And on the PESTEL framework, at this level, what you should be understanding is like what is impacting me, which element is going to have a impact on my organization, which element will impact my strategic creation, and what do I do with that? Yeah. So I need to understand whether my organization is going to face a crisis, whether there be any issues, situations. Do I get affected by the present economic state? Do I get affected by what is happening in the market, or what is the situation. Yeah. So it's, if you take each and every element one by one, okay, the politically, socially, the environmental, economy, and technology and legal issues, whatever you're facing, I wanted to work on the SBUs, what has been mentioned on the case separately, because you might find that the pestle environment is going to be common, but the elements impacting those organizations will be different. I hope you're understanding. If you're looking at the, since let's say, if you're looking at the export-oriented organization, our we face a dollar crisis. We face a issue with our foreign currencies. But then if you're an export-oriented company, that's going to actually benefit you, because if you can get a better rate, because you would be paying in Sri Lankan rupees, your cost, the manufacturing will be done locally, and you'll be earning in foreign currencies. So on conversion, you will be gaining fundamentally. For an importer, it's other way about. Okay, so the foreign currency is actually a favor. Foreign currency issue currently, that what is happening, it's a favor to you if you're on an export-oriented company. It might be an unfavorable situation or a threat if you're an import-based company. Yeah, so you understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? So your task is to identify what are the elements in the external factors which I don't have much control, would be critical to that particular organization, yeah, to that particular SBU. What is the critical perspective? What are the critical aspects of it? Say for example, the unemployment rate, right? When you say unemployment rate, now unemployment rate might be a very very good positive situation for most of the organization. If the unemployment rate is very high, you don't have to worry about your labor turnover. People might not leave the organization in a hurry, because they would struggle to get a job. On the other hand, you might not be able to pump in fresh blood. The people would stay for a longer period of time, and they would not be able to give you the right combination of the skills what you require, right? So touching upon what the case, just a touch area. If your tea sector is struggling to retain good human resources to manufacture the right quality tea, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, which could be now maybe currently it's a weakness that you can't maintain it. You need to realize whether that's going to be a threat, because if you can't find good employees in the market due to various type of economic issues, people migration. Yeah, since January 2022, probably we have lost more than 700,000 people, highly skilled employees from a job market. Yeah, so they're migrated, they're gone, or they're moved out of Sri Lanka to another location, right? So probably the people whom we are looking for would have gone with that particular lot. So what do we do then? Yeah, we need to have people who could manufacture the right quality product. So if you don't have that capability, if you don't have that ability, yeah, how are you going to satisfy your customers? Now, these are the challenges that you will be talking, or these are the challenges that will be looking and critically evaluating. How this PESTEL framework is going to have an impact in your organization, and what are the critical aspect of the criticalness of those particular factors which will affect the organization. This is what I was talking to you all about a little while ago also. The timing is very important. The timing is very important. When hopefully in another 3 years time, okay, Sri Lanka would settle down, in a better situation, better position, and if everything goes well, then we will not be talking about this exchange rate fluctuation. We will not be talking about the cost of living. Yeah, because we would have grown. If we would have grown better, we would have overcome this particular situation, and the situation would have improved tremendously, and which will support our claims. So then we will not be talking about the exchange rate fluctuation like what we do it now. Yeah, at present, yes, we talk about it because it's unprecedented. The cost and the the demand for foreign currencies. Yeah. So it's very it's very difficult for people to manage. So in another 3 years' time, hopefully, we will not be talking about. So now this is where this at different times the different sectors would have different impact. In your organization. So you need to be aware of that particular situation. Key drivers would be the which have bigger impact on your strategy. Yeah, the bigger impact. So today, probably, let's say on a social perspective, the aging population, which has quite a good link with your present case. Yeah, with the healthcare sector that you're talking about, right? In 2040, if I'm not wrong, 2040, they're expecting the diabetics level to be in Sri Lanka. At least 25% of the people or 33% of the people will be diabetics. I can't remember the exact figures. Just check it out for me. So just imagine the situation going to be. Probably you will need more diabetes, because 1 in 3, 1 in 3 people or 1 in 4 people will be having diabetics. Yeah, I'm not sure whether 1 in 4 already they are in Sri Lanka currently, because I remember reading a very high number which will be having effect by 2040, right? So if you don't have the right practices, hygiene practices, the eating habit practices, then you would end up at that particular in another 18 years time. In 2 decades, you're looking at about 1/3 of the population going to be diabetic. Just imagine, yeah, which is going to have a bigger impact, and you need to look into your organization on a long-term perspective. Get ready, get aligned. What need to be done when and implement it properly, right? So that need to be checked out. The second one, obviously, that's your Porter's 5 forces, your competitive forces that you're looking at and also your industry life cycle, how it works off it. So let's look at the 5 forces. Once again, draw it out to see, analyze, and identify which is impacting. Is it the existing rivalry is a problem? Yeah. I'm going to deviate a little bit from your case onto a general perspective. Look at the mobile service provided market today. Yeah, few top companies which are operating, main competitors, or you can only name about 4 people who are operating in that particular industry, which is Dialog. So that's no problem. Dialog, Mobitel, Hutch, Airtel. So now these 4 companies, their rivalry is so high, isn't it? Where TRC has to get involved to maintain the minimum level as well, minimum pricing level as well. Because of the competition, you drop your prices down right to the bottom, and TRC has to get involved to not to allow beyond a certain point. What is the impact? Because of that, what is the impact? There is no bigger margins in the industry remaining for the industry's growth. For the industry's growth, I'm not talking about the organizational growth. Of course, the organization also grow. We were the number 1 to implement 4G. Yeah, we migrated very quickly from analog. We migrated very quickly, and we were the model, to implement the 4G where other countries were struggling. But what is the situation today? 5G infrastructure is coming very slowly. You could see the competitors are joining forces to implement the 5G because of the return what they would get of the implementation of the 5G is not very lucrative because of the present market conditions. Right. So you need to be aware. You need to be careful as well as a consumers. You might be facing a non-spoken cartel. I'm not accusing anybody here. Don't take me to courts. But then that possibility could lead, because if the organizations could, join forces in developmental processes, obviously they could have, understanding of the pricing as well. The customers would complain only when your pricing is too higher than your competitor. But then if your competitor is on the same level or a higher level, you're not going to complain. Yeah, you're not going to complain. So the pricing could change. The pricing strategy could be challenged. It could be different. So now these are the things that you need to identify. As I said on the earlier case, identify which factor is going to be crucial. Yeah. On tea market, where Sri Lankan tea has been graded as number 1 high quality pure tea to work off with. So that's a pretty good brand value what you have. Who is capturing on it? Who is working on that particular perspective? Is there something that we have got, like to name ourselves as the Ceylon tea? Is it possible only to understand that from the geography of Sri Lanka that the tea should be produced to be tagged as a Ceylon tea? Yeah. So these are the things that you need to identify and understand when you are working on with these particular sectors. So I'm not going to go through individually. It's you're going to analyze and go through individually and understand which sector is going to have a bigger impact on me. There's somebody, your mic is on, guys. If the mic is on, can you just switch it off if you don't mind? Or if there are any questions to be raised? Right. Somebody putting the hand up. Lyro, any?
Yeah,
your
yes,
hand
sir.
is up?
Yeah, one small question, sir. Like, if you take this case study, especially this year, December, so they are more than 95% of the turnover, like production is exported oriented. They are
Right.
export oriented company. So competing with internationally, as
Yeah.
like a developing country company. So what would be the factors that we have to focus in terms of this 5 forces analysis?
Yeah, brilliant. That's a very valid question that you're asking, Lairu. Okay, so if you look at who is your competitors, then is your competitors are within Sri Lanka. Also, you would be having competitors, and also you'll be facing externally as well. Yeah, outside Sri Lanka as well, isn't it? So you need to analyze there, because you're looking at an export market, you're looking at an international market. So who are the people who are competing to capture that particular market what you're operating in? So that's going to be your rivalry. Now, once again, if now say for example, whether we are working on that competitive rivalry comes in with our technological aspect of it, the location aspect of it. See, Jebel Ali in UAE, they don't manufacture tea. There is no tea. Yeah, so they bring tea from different parts of the world, including Sri Lanka. Yeah, and they blend it over there. Then they have their own branding goes on, which is Lipton, I believe. Yeah, so they export into different locations where in our case it's not allowed to the blend. Yeah, onto a certain categories we are not allowed to blend, and we stick onto now. That's where there is when you analyze your political factors or the regulations, that the certain things that you need to identify to compete in the market, that certain things need to be worked off very well. Now, if you could, and that is a question I raised earlier also, like your cinnamon to claim as Ceylon cinnamon, that has to be manufactured in Sri Lanka. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who put Ceylon tea, which is only a part of the Ceylon tea is being included in that particular tea, which is blended and which has been exported as Ceylon tea from different locations. Yeah, because we don't add value to our tea, we just export on plenty on the bulk basis to go off with. So if you're looking at your 5 forces analysis, probably your main competitor rivalry would be the people who are operating in that particular market, even from the other countries, even from Sri Lankan companies which are operating on the same segment. So that will be the competitive rivalry, which you need to understand. Then suppliers currently, who they are, what do they do? Due to the regulations and due to the restrictions, companies have moved out of Sri Lanka because of this particular the tea quality issues, tea issues, right? Who is now? What is the trend now? Does people look for? Yes, there is a demand for single single plantation tea. Yes, there's a demand. Organic tea. Yes, there's a demand. I'm sure Vatawala has done magnificently well of doing on that organic tea exportation. So now, if you see the people who are involved in that particular process, what they do, so understand that the people who are competing either in Sri Lanka, either in export market, since you're looking at the export market, who are the people who are exporting? Who are the people who are participating in the export market? They are the people who are going to be their competitors mainly. Yeah. Buyers, again, international buyers, right? Potential new entrants from anywhere. And obviously the substitutes as well. Okay. So you need to not only concentrate on the Sri Lankan segment, you need to look from outside. Who are the major players who are operating? I think, if I'm not mistaken, like Sri Lanka is about 10th or 11th now, if my numbers are correct. in value-added tea in volume terms, because most of our tea is bulk. Yeah, most of our tea is bulk. Right? So there's no value-added tea that we add on. Those are the restrictions that we need to get out of it as well. Yeah. Lyro, that's clear?
Yes, clear, sir. It's clear.
Okay, right. Thanks, Lyro. Thanks for the question. Okay, when you look at the industry life cycle, where do you stand in both perspectives? Yeah, where do you stand? Whether, because at different levels, at different stages in the industry, that your strategies are going to change. Yeah, your strategies are going to change because the 5 forces also going to change. You can see that. If you're in the maturity market, probably I believe the tea market is going to be on the maturity level. You're looking at very strong buyers. You're looking at very strong buyers because they know generally at the maturity level, the differentiation would come on top because the buyers knows exactly what to get from the market. Yeah. Like for example, in Sri Lanka garment industry, we Sri Lankans, we now, I believe we know the taste of high quality garments because we have seen those garments. Yeah, we were able to purchase these factory excess garments. Earlier it was the factory seconds, but now we get the factory excess garments, which is like the same quality what is being displayed in bigger brand shops, right? So we know exactly what it is. So we know exactly what to expect from a high quality garment. The same way, the people who are when the industry is matured, yeah, the people who are in that particular industry, the buyers, they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what to expect from the high quality product. Okay, so you could see that you will have pretty high standard products. The market is not going to grow very fast. The good part of the tea market is that the world population is growing, so that the number of people who wants that particular product would go. So there would be enough demand for tea to work off with, and due to the what do you call the healthy concern, the people who are changing their lifestyles onto a more healthy products. The cola market, you could see the war is almost to an end, and products like tea-based products, either hot or cold, is becoming more popular. So the demand would still increase. Yeah. So we need to identify at the mature market where the customers are pretty strong. The buyers knows exactly what they want. So if you could identify what exactly they like, what they want, and cater to their demand, probably you could stay in the market for a long period of time. Yeah. So because now you'd have jumped all the hurdles, and now you are being there in the market, which is very critical, very important, because it is not easy to compete in the international markets with the health certifications required and so forth. Yeah, so that's very important to understand the industry life cycle market as well. The third area is going to be the competitors, the direct people what we are looking at. So the competitors and market, we'll try to understand the strategic groups and also the market segments plus your strategic customers. When I say the strategic groups, very on a simple note for you to understand, this question, this particular area is linked to the competitors or the rivalries as well. Okay, there may be so many people who are operating in that particular industry. Now, to give you an example, if you take the city hotels. Yeah, city hotels. Yeah, city hotels market, right? So when you say city hotels market, let's say we'll take Colombo. Colombo, you have from 5-star to no star categories. Yeah. So you have Shangri-La, Hilton, Kingsbury, Taj, Galadari, Golf Face, Cinnamon, Lake and Grand. You have these high-end properties on one hand, and you have high-end boutique hotels. Yeah, like the Rosmin Place one, the Tingatel. So you have these high-end properties as well. Plus, you have the 4-star hotels. You have the 3-star categories like Cinnamon Red. Yeah. Then you have, global towers on different concepts. You have a variety of hotels down Marine Drive. Yeah. Then you have Renuka. Then you have City Hotel. And also you have hotels like Juliana as well. Now tell me, guys, if Shangri-La is going to do something for this season, or Shangri-La is going to make certain changes in their menus or in the way they look, or where they opening up a new restaurant or whatever, who would be more interested to see what is happening? Renuka will be interested. Hotel Renuka will be interested, or for that matter, even Cinnamon Red will be interested. No, they will not be interested at all because they are not in that particular category. Now, this where the strategic group is very important. Where do you stay? So probably if Shangri-La is making any changes, Hilton will be, they'll be worried. They'll be concerned. Yeah. Galadari will be concerned. Kingsbury will be concerned. Cinnamon groups will be concerned. So now these are why? Because they are operating on the same platform. They are at the same platform. The same way, when you ask the question about who is my rivalry going to be, yes, there'll be plenty of people who are doing this, but at the same level, same volume, same category, similar category to and similar market that you attract. Okay, if you're looking at the UK market, if you're looking at the European market, so who are the people who operate in the European market? Now, probably you may be operating onto Russian market. So you need to identify who are the people who are operating on the Russian market, or you are the people who, if you're operating on the European market, who are the people operating on the European market. So they become your existing rivalries. They become your important people for you to take care of, not the people who are exporting to. If you're going north, if somebody is doing something on the south, not them. Yes, you might be seeing what are they doing, but then they are not going to be existing rivalries to consider because they operate on a separate market, separate segment altogether. So you don't have to complicate your life. So identify who directly gets involved. Who are the people directly get involved in doing that particular, so that you will understand who is my existing rivalries. Who are the people in that particular strategic group? Who are the people who are working on that particular perspective? Yeah, so that is very, very critical. Similar basis. Yeah. So they could be easily identified by looking at how much they are spending, the market they operate, the product range what they have. Same with the example what I gave you. See, look at the hotels. Yeah, Shangri-La would having a different market, different totally a different segment that they'll be attracting. Similar the other 5-star hotels, right? So they will be worried about a particular group's wallet, not yours and mine's. Yeah, because they need to attract that particular segment, right? So if they are going to attract that particular segment, then they'll be concentrating on the high-end consumers who spend, on a day-to-day basis, not the people who goes like once in 6 months or whatever it is to these hotels, right? So now these are the things that you need to identify, because that will give you the focus, what you should be doing for that particular segment, rather than trying to shoot everyone. So the question I'm asking, like, who are the people who are competing you with? Other manufacturers, others. Probably since you are looking at the export market, like, we are looking at the outside of Sri Lanka too. Yeah. Now, what is the market segment that you're talking to? Yeah, what is the market segment that you're operating? Are you talking to a healthy market segment? Are you looking at the high-end market segment, or you are looking at a mass market? Which market that you're looking at? Yeah. So is your product available in all supermarkets, which is like the mass market? Or is it only available at the exclusive shops? So you're looking very specifically exclusivity. Yeah. So which segment that you're interested in? Because different segments has different needs. Because you need to address those needs. Different customer base. Like what I said earlier, Shangri-La will be interested in the high-end customers. The Cinnamon Group will be interested in the high-end customers, not the middle-income earners. Middle-income earners has to save and go. High-end customers, it's like, we buying a rice packet from, to finish our lunch. That kind of situation. So they'll be concentrating on that. The same way, you need to identify. Now, say, for example, the Dinkies, okay? Double income, no kids. Against double income with kids. Two different segments. Double income with kids would have a more of a saloon, comfortable, a space vehicle. Double income, no kids, probably they might have two vehicles, because both will go for different parties, or both will go for different, their requirements are two different perspectives. So identifying the segment is also very critical. Identify whom you're targeting to. So probably in your case that may be indicated. So are you going to, now that will help you to understand whether you're focusing on that one particular segment, or can you create a new market with the same product and move into a new market. So you're doing a market development strategy. That's a choice that you have. The same product that you can go into a new market. Probably only a slight change in your label. Can you do something for your school children with your, the tea? Healthy segment. Think about it. The strategic customers. Once again, the strategic customers would be like the people who could influence your sales. Who would say, sorry, you try to increase your price? Who can say, sorry, if you increase your price, we are not going to buy it. We will stop buying. People who can alter your decision. Identifying, understanding their need is very important, very critical. Yeah. Also, you can identify the strategic gap in the market. When I say strategic gap in the market, you should realize that we have the option of looking at now let's say look at the, for example, okay, to make you all clear what I mean by strategic gap. Look at the toilet soap market in Sri Lanka today. Most of the products are hovering around, same. How much is a cake of Lux? 165, $100. I don't know how much it is. So most of the soap would be hovering around that range, isn't it? If you see Velvet, or if you see Lifebuoy, or if you see, all will be hovering around that particular range. And probably you will have a slight, specific functional soap like a Dettol, maybe a little bit higher. I'm not sure how much is Dove is selling now. I don't know whether it is available. Yeah. How much it is selling. So probably that will have a bigger number. So maybe let's say 350 rupees or 300 rupees or whatever it is. I'm not sure because I'm not bought or I'm not seen. I don't go into that section, so I don't know anything about the pricing. Yeah. So let's say 300 because earlier it was $200. So it must be with the price increase, it should be going at about 350, I suppose. Yeah. So look at the gap. 165, 175 range to 350 in between. Probably there are only one product operating, maybe some imported product, something like Imperial Leather. So anybody who comes with a very high quality product at the pricing at in between, now that's where you try to exploit that market gap. If you're not answered, so probably there are customers who wants not the Dove quality, not the Dove range, not the Dove pricing, but then they look for something like 225, 250 range. Yeah, high quality product, recognized product to work off with. That's why you capture that particular market gap. Analyzing your products, analyze the case products. Okay, identify whether there is any gap on that nature. It could be a segment requirement is not identified by the suppliers currently. So that's where your innovation could come in. Identify whether the product would be product what you are supplying into the market with modification. Can it serve a different market segment, which currently nobody has addressed? The argument is like, when you get into that particular new market, then somebody would follow. Yes, somebody would follow, but then you will have the first mover advantage. So you establish yourself and then you will have the first mover advantage. Obviously, you should maintain it. Now, what has happened to Ceylon tea in the general market is that it has not been maintained. We have become like, this now Etisalat. Yeah. Etisalat, earlier it was, I think it was Tigo, then I think that it started off with Celtel, I believe. Yeah. So Celtel was the first brand to be in the mobile market. They are not to be seen now. That is because they could not sustain it. They just lost it to Dialog and moved off. And then now the company being brought by so many different people now. And finally by Hutch. So these are the things that you need to identify whether there is a gap in the market and whether you could provide that gap. So which you could be the first mover and sustain that growth. So now we looked at the external aspect of it. Now let's look at the internal part of it, the strategic capability part of it. Yeah. So few things, foundations, we'll ever quickly look at it. Your cost efficiency, the sustainability, and also a little analysis that we would do. So strategic capability refers to fundamentally your resources and your competencies. Yeah, your resources and your competencies. So that's what it generally refers as capabilities. And your strategic capabilities is a little bit more than that, which goes on, which requires for an organization to two things: survive and prosper. Not only surviving, okay? To survive and prosper. You need to stay alive to grow. That's what the survival means. Yeah, you need to stay alive. Otherwise it's not worth. Right? So you look at your resources and your competencies very carefully, which is required for an organization to survive and grow. Right? If you look at the resources, you can categorize the resources mainly into two areas, like tangible and intangible. But then there are two resources which comes under gray area, which is your human resources and your financial resources. Because generally, what human resources, what we do we take their manpower, or do we take their brain power? Yeah, so that's something bit of a question mark. Then the second one, you're looking at the financial resources. The financial resources can be touched, like the human resources, that also can be touched. Okay, so that's how the physical resources comes in. Your tangible resources. Tangible is touched, you can feel it. Yeah, so your human resources also could be felt, and your the financial resources, that is your cash, could be felt. Okay, but then the question is like, what do we realize? What values? Value of the currency? Yeah, 100, 500, or 1,000, or 5,000. We don't have 10,000 yet, but I'm sure it will come very soon. So now that is how you have to analyze. You would analyze in this. So to avoid that, what they have done is they have made it your resources into 4 categories. So human resources, your intellectual properties, those who are now you could see that they are very specifically talking about human resources. Your financial resources, very specific, and your physical resources. So your land, buildings, machineries, whatever, yeah, furnitures, fittings, all those things would come, right? And the rest of the 3, your financial resources, anything, your money in the bank, your certificates, FDs, everything would come into that. Human resources, the entire manpower, right? From the lowest to the highest. And then intellectual properties like your brands, your processes, your license, all those aspects of it. We'll quickly look at this threshold, certain terminologies in this threshold resources, threshold competencies, unique resources, and unique core competencies. Yeah. So if you look at the word called threshold, yeah, threshold is something that minimum requirement. Yeah. So threshold resources could be your any resources, the 4 categories that we talked about. For convenience, I'll be looking at the 2 resources, 2 types, tangible and intangible. And so the threshold means the basic requirements to satisfy your customers. Yeah. Fundamental requirement, fundamentally required resources. Yeah. So if you look at the bank, okay, you look at the bank, you would require computers, you would require the fundamentals, right? Fundamentals. So you would require certain fundamental elements like the application forms, things like that. Now those becomes threshold resources, right? Let me give you an example. Since you're on the bank, look at the ATM machine. 1988, 89, I can't remember the year exactly. When Sampath Bank bought the ATM machine, of course, there's a competition whether Sampath bought it or whether HSBC bought it. But I suppose as a network, Sampath brought it. HSBC didn't have much of a branch. Yeah, I believe maybe they had one branch or two branches maximum at that particular time. Let's assume that, let's give the credit to the Sri Lankan bank. So Sampath Bank, when they introduced the ATM machine, they had that competitive advantage, okay? So that was a unique resource at that particular time. Because it gave the facility to the customers to withdraw cash even after 1:30, because at that time, the bank closes at 1 o'clock on Mondays, 1:30 other days. So just imagine, like, if you miss your transaction and if you're not there, whether the bank will be able to deliver, the customers will be able to take cash out of the bank? No. After 1 o'clock, no. So you have to go physically to take bank, and you have to go to your own branch to take cash. Okay. Later on, they relaxed with the systems and things like that. But then earlier, no, it was you had to go physically present yourself, physically be there, especially if you're taking take it from your savings account where you had a passbook where you had to fill up a form, drop the form inside that book and passbook and give to the counter. They will give you a number, and you can go do all your work, whatever the work that you're doing, and come after about 2 hours, and sometimes still that number might not be called. Yeah. So anyway, you have to enter before 1 o'clock, otherwise the bank will close. Right. So now those are the situations earlier. But now when we talk that, it's like alien to you all because you already never experienced that. So when the ATM machine was bought, it was a unique resource. Now tell me, guys, in your perspective, what are the unique resources that you all have in your businesses? Like in a sense, in the case, yeah. What are the unique resources that you have? Because unique resources are the resources which would require which will give you the competitive advantage. Yeah. If you don't have the unique resources, then don't try. Right. Now that may be the reason that we are struggling to compete in the market, because we don't have we don't have any unique resources. Anything different, anything even you pack tea. Okay. Is there any option that you can pack it for as per the customer requirement? So do you have a fantastic fully automated machineries which is high quality, high standard, which nobody can acquire for the moment? Because the moment the resources being acquired by your competitors, you lose that competitive advantage. It's like what's happening now. Every single bank has an ATM network. And you will never open up an account when there is no ATM network facility available in a bank. And now that has become a threshold resource. Yeah. So the sustaining of that competitive advantage, if you don't have the unique resource, then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Right. So the unique resource which gives you that competitive advantage. Same way, the threshold competencies are the competencies what is required. The competencies generally what you call is it is the processes how you handle your resources. Okay, how you manage your resources. So the competencies, if you like, let me stay with the bank example itself so that you will understand. If you want to open up an account, the banks have a process. So probably now within maximum of 15 minutes, that I'm sure you can open up a bank account and walk out, without any problems. Within 15 minutes that your bank account is open. If you check with all the banks, that will be the approximate time. So now that the process what they have has become fundamentally, it's a threshold. It has become threshold now, because if you don't have the process, that you get into trouble. Don't have process, then you get into trouble. Okay, so that's fundamentally which is not acceptable, because if you don't have the core competencies, you are not going to have that competitive advantage. Let me give you an example. I'll stay with the banking industry itself. Okay. You look at the certain banks advertises your housing loan could be obtained with 2 visits in 2 weeks' time. Another bank will advertise you come in the morning and go in the evening to your new house. So that means within 24 hours you can get your loan. Yeah, you come out of the house on the rented house and you get back to your own house. That kind of situation. So, but this was not the case earlier. Earlier, the housing loans were only approved by 2 banks. Yeah, probably National Savings Bank and HDFC or whatever it is. Then, it takes about maybe good 6 months to get the loan worked out. Now, I don't think that any client would stay for 6 months to obtain a loan. Now it is different. So the organization struggle, the banks struggle to keep that competencies unique to them, right? So which becomes give them that competitive advantage. Now, where will you go? Will you go to a bank which will take about 2 weeks, or will you go to the bank which takes about a day to give your housing loan? Obviously, people will go to the bank which gives it in a day, because they want to have the processes fast, right? Otherwise, they know that processes take time. Obviously, they'll be checking on the other elements also. So that's why you need to understand what is my the direct competitor is doing, right? So that will make my life a little bit easier, so that I can give better than what my competitor is doing, right? And I can create something what my competitor don't have, the process. So then I have that core competencies to go off with. Let me go to the slide that will give you a little bit of, yeah. So to summarize what I was talking about, so threshold resources means the resources required to meet your customer's minimum requirement. That's a minimum requirement. Okay. Then if you look at the unique resources, now that gives you that competitive advantage. Threshold resources could be obtained very quickly. The moment somebody else obtains that resource becomes threshold. Yeah, it will migrate from unique resource to a threshold resource. So as long as you can keep your resource is a unique resource, then you're winning. Yeah, you're winning. Same with the competencies, threshold competencies, activities which is required minimum, minimum requirements, right, to meet customers' minimum requirement. And the core competencies gives you that competitive advantage, which will be very difficult. If you ask me, out of these two, the unique resources and core competencies, it's very important to have more core competencies than the resources, because resources could be obtained. Resources could be obtained, you could buy it off. But core competencies is very tough to buy. That's why organizations try to keep their players in the market for a longer period of time. Yeah. Now, if you're looking for something on, your cost efficiency part, you're looking for certain things on your cost efficiency. The cost efficiency is required for an organization to sustain its competitive advantage, which can follow cost leadership strategy. Right. So the cost efficiency does not come automatically. Okay, it comes through your experience, because we know that experience curve would give you that advantage. The more you produce, you can start reducing the cost of the manufacturing through your experience also, because you will know exactly how much to mix. You would know what are the ingredients that you need to use. You know how to make, it's viable to have these products. With your experience, you will know how much to add, how much to deduct, and so forth. Right? That's one. The cost efficiency comes from the product design also. If you ask the Rolls-Royce manufacturers, the cost is reduced in the form of with Rolls-Royce. If the design is correct, you could avoid unnecessary cost involvement. Same way with in your case, where if you have the right product, if you're looking at tea bags, if you're looking at instant, so we have come a long way. Okay, we have come a long way. As Sri Lanka as a country has come a long way on these particular products. So we would if you could create that a proper design, okay, so that the customers would feel comfortable, feel easy, right, and that will give you that advantage. And probably if you give the the right combination, so your product manufacturing would be much more cheaper, and you could be very competitive. Economies of scale. Now you could see that we are gone very far behind. We were #1 tea exporter. Now, as I said, like we are in #7 or #6, if I'm not wrong, because the volumes have dropped. Various types of issues that we face. So the economic scale also would give you that cost efficiency, the reduction in cost. So all those things would come in a better way if you manufacture large volumes. For example, imagine that you want to cook or you want to bake a 2 kilo cake. What do you add for 2 kilos? You add sugar, flour, and eggs plus butter. Poundage as a mix. So when you when you do that, let's say that the cost for that 2 kilos would be and the present context maybe 1,000, 2,000, yeah, let's say 2,000 rupees. Yeah, but I'm just giving you a rough indication. 2,000 rupees, maybe higher. 2,000 rupees. So at 2,000 rupees, then if you do 200 kilos, you do 200 kilos, what do you think the cost would be? Do you think 2,200 kilos into 1,000 rupees, 200,000 rupees, or less than that? I'm sure it will be less than that, because now you don't have to buy 500 grams of sugar. No, now you can buy, let's say 50 kilos of sugar. 50 kilos of sugar. So then if you're looking at 50 kilos of sugar, then you can get a better price. Yeah, you can easily get a better price. So your economy of scales would give you that advantage for creating that cost efficiency. Then the supply cost. Now, this is where when you're doing your internal analysis with the value chain, it will be very important to understand with your procurement team. Yeah, your procurement team should be able to capture the right suppliers who could supply consistently the products, the raw materials to you on a consistent basis. Yeah, so so that you could have the cost under control, so that you could find alternative suppliers who could give you the better pricing. So which we do generally, yeah, and make sure that they come and deal with you all on the right manner, so that the cost what they supply could be controlled or reduced at the lowest. When you have this, once you have this competitive advantage, once again with the case what you're looking at, okay, the competitive advantage, are they able to sustain it? You could clearly indicate saying that they're struggling to sustain. They're struggling to sustain. Let's look at the model which will give you an idea how you could sustain it. Number one, the value. Yeah, value. The product should be valued to your customer. Yeah, it should be value, whether it creates value to your customer when the customer uses your products. Obviously, yes. Okay, obviously, yes, that they would value the product what you're selling. So then you will have edge when your product is valued. Is it product rare? Is it unique? Can that uniqueness should be transferred into some other product? Can that uniqueness should be sustainable? I believe it's a little bit of tough question here. So yes, the product may be rare, but then can I sustain it? So most of the time when organizations look for sustainability, okay, they try to manufacture a product which is very rare, which is difficult to identify. They look at the the uniqueness. It's very what do I say? The product, same way you value it, the same way the processes or something, what you have in manufacturing those products should be rare compared to your competitors. But only problem is, like, you need to be aware that you might get into that core rigidities, because you don't want to change anything, you don't want to move anything, because you think it's pretty rare, the processes or the product. So you would forget to keep your ears on the ground, and then you can lose. Third one is your product inimitable? Yeah. 3 areas on the inimitable part: the complexity, the culture and history, yeah, and also the casual ambiguity. Does your product have this combination? Does your product have this complexity? Is it difficult to manufacture? Yeah. Look at your SAPs, okay? People are working with SAPs will understand this. Is it easy? If you want to make certain change, what will your vendor say? No, if you change this will be, this is linked to this particular module. That is linked to that other module. So if you make certain changes here, you will have problem of the other modules also. So complex. Now, this is one of the reasons that, I'm not a big fan of an iPhone. iPhone is easily copyable. Although they look complex outside, they are very melon inside. Easily you can, copy them. So if you want to sustain your competitive advantage, you make sure that your product is not copied. So whether it is, so how you can create that inimitable part is make your product a little bit complex. Yeah. Build that culture and history because people like it. Imagine the Disney World. There are so many theme parks now, okay? There are so many theme parks available. But still people love to go to Disney World. Why is that? A pretty long-standing culture and history. Pretty long-standing culture and history. So you need to realize that people would, look in for that culture and history, so that where you will be able to sustain your advantage. The third one is your casual ambiguity. Very nice word that is. If I put it on a simple terms, it's like you don't know what makes you good. You don't know actually what makes you good. So you can't identify why people like me. Yeah, it's difficult. So then in that case, you have 2 headaches coming in. One is a good one and one is a bad one. The good one is that if the competitors can't understand why you are good, then they can't improve. The bad one, if you don't understand what makes you good, they will never learn. They will never learn. Okay. So when you don't know why you're good, so when you can't learn, then you can't improve. Mostly, if you see the Nestle products is same. You have plenty of malted drinks in Sri Lanka. Okay, from Viva to Nestamalt to Horlicks. There are so many products. Yeah. But number one, Nestamalt. Why? What is the difference between Nestle Malt and other products is something they do better than others. Is it the top of the mind recall? People, actually don't know why those products are good. Difficult. So they build that casual ambiguity into that. Fourth one, substitution. Fundamentally, is non-substitution. Especially if you are dealing with something technology. You take the Sri Lanka, postal services. Sri Lanka postal services, now it is mostly confined to the buildings. Very less, the postman, delivering post, now it's very much less. Probably they was collecting it for a week and then send it across. Why? Because the technology improvement. Now SMS. Now no telegrams. No long distance letters. No airmail letters. Yeah. Even the cards have become e-cards. The environmental friendly societies are becoming more rental. It's because so when the normal post is not going to work, when they are pricing for their stamps are going to go down, how are they going to survive? Yeah. So then probably whether your survival, can you do certain other things for your survival to sustain your requirement? What do? They become bank representatives. They are becoming collection centers for government fines and things like that. Yeah. They are even becoming understanding the fact that a lot of mobile companies would require their services because they have a fantastic network. Okay, so they become now reloading. The postmans are becoming reloading agents. Yeah, so different. They are creating that difference in becoming not substituted by the technology development. Yeah, so difficult to find a substitution. So in our case, especially on a product like tea, what would be the avoidance? Like you create more knowledge, you create more awareness for your product, then the product has a ability to grow. Yeah. The last one is that dynamic, the organizational perspective. Yeah, the organizational perspective. So when you look at the dynamic aspect of it, whether the organization in the case, yeah, if you're going to compare, whether the organization can sustain during the difficult times. Do they have something that they can do different to be in the market? Yeah. For example, during 2008, 2009, that particular financial crisis where Sri Lanka was not affected, Bank of America, okay, Bank of America had a tough asking, because it was, there were a lot of you know, bankruptcy been filed, Lehman Brothers went off, you know, so now with all those incidents, Bank of America looked at a point where they realized that they have to increase the customer base. Now during this is during the peak time of the issues. Okay, so they want to increase the customer base. So to increase the customer base, they realize that they have to. It's not easy to ask people to shift. So they came out with a fantastic theme. Yeah. They were willing to spend $250 on a customer to acquire a customer. So what they simply did was like, they brought a promotional dealing on their debit cards, not on credit cards, okay, debit cards. Because, the moment you say debit card, you must have an account, okay. With the debit card, they were able to they were able to what do I say? Came out with a promotion where they said, okay, if you can pay your bills with our debit card, we will round it up to the nearest figure. Let's say $29.15. So they will round it up to the higher side of it, $30. Yeah. So they will deduct $30 from your account. Now, people were a bit confused why they are deducting $30. That means 85 cents that they have added more. Yeah, deducting from your account. Then they said, okay, whatever the amount that we have deducted, 85 cents, we will triple it. We will triple that. That is like $2.55. We will return it back to you within 3 days. After 3 days. Yeah. So you could see that there was transaction on. There's a rotation happening. Yeah. So they were willing to part up to $250 per customer, and they were able to retain those customers as well as they could be able to acquire new customers, and they survived during that difficult period of time. Yeah. So which is very good and very important to understand how you could sustain the competitive advantage, whatever the advantage that you're creating of it. Then the further analysis, your value chain, your benchmarking, your activity maps, and finally the SWOT matrix. Yeah. Now, this is very important to identify because in our case that this is very relevant. Yeah, this is very important because it's a manufacturing-based organization. So this value chain analysis is excellent for a manufacturing-based organizations, right? Even for the process organizations, okay, like your hospitals. So you identify which area is giving you that edge, which area is giving you that the advantage, which area is giving you that the value addition, right? When you say value addition, it's a value that you have created in the product what you got from the previous process. Now, say for example, on operations, okay, operations, what you do, the product what you convert that into finished goods. So in the finished good, let's say the finished good price, factory price is, let's say 100 rupees. If you calculate the raw materials, the labor cost, the other overheads, let's say that cost you 60 rupees. So 100 minus 60, it's 40. So you have added value. Now the product is 100 rupees worth. Okay. So now, so that means you have added 40 rupees on the value. Now this is very important. Even the next stage. Yeah. Your distribution. How are you managing it? Are you looking at the root analysis? Are you looking at how are you sending the the products to the end customer. So look into your case, how this is done in the organization. Yeah. Are we using the right channels to distribute? Are we attracting the right people to buy? So now these are the questions that you can ask from this particular value chain analysis, which will be giving you a insight of yourself, whether you're adding value or you're deducting value. The bottom called the primary activities, others called the supporting activities. So ask questions on these areas. It looks like you have issues in your firm infrastructure. Okay, we will discuss this on the next session. You have technology problems. You have human resource management problems. Yeah, you have procurement issues. So, including the other elements. So, I would like to see you doing analysis of your organization. Try to fill these spaces. What issues? What are the issues that we are facing? What are the problems that we are facing? What are the good things about the technology development? What are the bad things about technology development? Are we on the right track? What is the issue in the procurement? What is the good about the procurement? What is bad about the procurement? So that will give you a very good idea where do you stand. So this could be taken into a value network where for example, your outbound logistics, yeah, outbound logistics could be embedded into your customer's channel as their inbound logistics. I hope you understand what I'm saying. See, your supplier will be supplying the goods, and that will get into the inbound logistics. Yeah. So your inbound part, when your supplier supplies. So now you are a supplier and you are distributing the finished goods to your clients. So that means outbound logistics. Your outbound logistics will become the inbound logistics of your customer's channel. Now, is outbound logistics would become the inbound logistics of the end consumer. To make it a little bit clearer, let's say Unilever's outbound logistics is the inbound logistics to its agents. Let's say it has appointed agents are there. So from its outbound logistics, it gets into the agent's inbound logistics. So agents inbound logistics, when they send it out, yeah, probably they will wrap it a little bit or color it or do whatever it is, add some value, and then they send it outside. That becomes the clients or the consumers inbound logistics. Okay. So let's say supermarket, from supermarket, you buy it, right? So to the supermarket from the stores of Unilever, that's going to be their inbound logistics. And when they deliver it out, that is their outbound logistics becomes the inbound logistics of the consumer. So understanding this will give you certain questions, where the profit pool is coming from, what should be outsourced, because if you're not adding any value in that particular 9 element, that you can consider for outsourcing, and which will give you a better added advantage. Yeah. Then you can identify who are the partners you need to work on with. So all these things could be identified through your value chain analysis. The benchmarking could be categorized on 3 ways. The first benchmarking could be internal benchmarking. Okay. Historical benchmarking, like, who I was last year, who I am now. Yeah. What did I make last year? How much I'm making now? Do I have a growth? Pretty good. If you have growth, excellent. Yeah. So you're comparing yourself with you. The second benchmarking would be the industry or the sector benchmarking with your competitors. It is very important. Not only identifying yourself with you, you should be able to identify yourself with the exporters also. Now, say for example, you got last year you have sold, let's say, 1 ton. Okay, last year you sold 1 ton. This year you sold 1.1 ton. Good or bad? Definitely good. Why? You got a 10% increase. Excellent. Excellent. So your market share, let's say your market share is 10% with 1 ton. Okay. And that now the market, the whole market has grown by 25%. How much did you gain? You gain only 10%. Now you tell me whether it is good or bad. It is not so good. Obviously, when you look at the on an individual basis, yes, you have that advantage because you have grown from 1 ton to 1.1 ton. But then if you look at compared with the industry has grown by 25%, you have grown by 10%. That means what? Somebody else has grabbed your market share. You're no more 10% now. Because the market has grown 25%. That means your pie has become larger, but you're getting only a 10% increase slice of last time. Now, this is where the problem comes in. Yeah, this is where the whole issue comes in. The third one is a best-in-class benchmarking. From whom do you benchmark with? Whom do you benchmark with? Yeah. For example, DHL benchmark with Apollo Hospitals. I mean, vice versa. Apollo Hospitals benchmark with DHL. Now, what is Apollo Hospitals? What is DHL? DHL is a courier company. Apollo Hospital is famous for heart surgeries. There was a lot of finger pointing and issues in the health industry that they were not doing a good job. They were stealing organs. Like in Sri Lanka. We are in the picture of picture to the world in every aspect. No, we are onto organ stealing. We are onto organ trade. We are into economic issues. We are into everything. We are in, right. So that's how it goes. Okay. So what did Apollo Hospitals do? They realize what DHL does best. That is delivering the right product or right parcel to the right customer. Yeah, to the right customer at the right time, as promised. Now what? Now what? So Apollo Hospital want to raise that, myth about not treating your customer well. So they start tagging the customers with a barcoded, band, so that all information about the patient can be seen on the screen when you scan the barcode, right? The entire information. It's like they followed it of like what DHL has of tracking the tracking the the parcel. So they brought in the system. So then the people know when the operation is going to take place, when they have to be ready. All information is given. Yeah. So people can check on it. People know exactly what's going to happen. What is the next process to them? So everybody is involved in the loop has been noted and very conveniently finished that off. So that the patient got the prioritization was easy. The attention was easy. So giving all those facts, the patient was taken on time for the operation. So the relatives knows what is the situation, how it is going. So they didn't have to panic. They know exactly what time the patient will be out of the operating theater, etc., etc. So much more easier. So you can do the benchmarking with internally. You can do it with the competitors and also do it the best in class. The activity maps, very interesting. The activity maps is, it is linked between the competencies and the competitive advantage. Okay. So when you draw the activity map, you will be able to identify where your competitive advantage is coming from, which competencies, right? So it's a link. Here is the Southwest Airlines activity map. Very interesting. You could see. Just to give you a brief introduction about the Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines, guys, I'm taking both service-oriented as well as the product because your case is mixed up both. Okay, so that's the reason. Southwest Airlines is is one of the airline which has a fantastic track record. Obviously, they had some issues also, but then their track record are much better than their issues. So we'll talk the good part of it. Yeah, they are highly customer centric. They are highly employee centric also. So they strongly believe when you take care of the employees, that the employees take care of the business. So they do it very well. They do it at the best level. So they never work on. You could see the advantage. Even after the 9/11 attack, this company was never closed. Even during the pandemic, they were doing great. Okay, because they followed the procedures, they followed the right procedures. They knew what to do. In difficult times. So how to cut cost, where to cut cost, because their main aim is to provide, the main aim is to provide the lowest price, right? So you could see that there's lowest price, lowest fare, which is coming, which is the one of the let me pick that up. Yeah. So you can see the lowest fare is what they are good in surviving. Okay. Now the lowest fare is achieved because it's a 10 minutes gate turnaround. Now generally the airlines stay for about an hour. If you see, more and more they are on air, they make revenue. because aircrafts are supposed to fly. Okay, they are not sea craft or they are not ground craft. No, they are called aircrafts. So aircrafts means that they have to fly. So when they keep on flying, that they get better benefit. So you can just imagine 10-minute turnaround, refueling, cleaning, 10 minutes, the flight takes off. When you go to the point, they have more. What they do is they operate on a network basis. So from one point to the other point to the other point, they just go on operating, go on, on a network kind of a basis. Okay, they don't. Now, what is the difference between network and the other, hub and spoke model? It's like, for example, like take Sri Lankan Airlines, Colombo, London back, Dubai back, Riyadh back, Jeddah back, Paris back, right? Chennai, Delhi, Karachi, then Bangladesh, Dhaka, then Bangkok, then Maldives. You can see Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. You can see that this is the hub and these are the spoke like a wheel. Yeah. So they are not operating this way. They are operating on a network basis. So they can have more flights between 2 points. Right. One class of service. They don't have first class, economy class, some other class. It's one class of service. So, they don't allocate seats. You just go and sit wherever you want to sit. And if you have already booked it, of course, then the seat will be carry a tag saying it's not that is reserved, so that the person who has reserved it can go and sit. But they don't have to bother about because it is one class, they can send everybody together, right? Pretty standardized boarding processes because the aircraft what they do is with 737s. All their technicians are 737s. So wherever they fly, they have the technicians. Okay, if they go to Minnesota, they have a technician. If they go to Texas, there's a technician. If they go to Washington, there's a technician. They go to New York, there's a technician. So then, wherever they fly, that they have a technicians on. Okay, so much easier to maintain, no problems, because the technicians are experts. They know exactly in and out of the problem of the aircraft, so much easier to handle as well. Okay, so now this is you can see that. So this activity map would give you how the advantage is obtained through which resource or the which process. And finally, the what do you call the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat, your SWOT matrix. You could see the first one comes from your strategic capability analysis, and the second one comes from your environment analysis. Okay, so this is like your O and T, and this is like your S and W. That's what you are very familiar with. Understand this. Okay, this is SW is more internal. Okay, so there is more internal perspective. Now this is where a lot of students go and make mistake. This is internal. Okay, this is not external. It's not an external analysis. You can see that very clearly. This is external. These two combined is external. These two combined is internal. Okay, this is external. So you have to be very careful, because external or internal, you need to identify very, very clearly. Right. Guys, can we take a quick 15 minutes break and come back? Now it is 12:12. Can we meet up by 12:30 quickly? Like to grab a glass of hot water and get back. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Welcome back, guys. I think I saw two questions here in the chat box. One said, so any strategic gap the company could fill in the case study of T sector or hospital sector? Yeah. Now, my suggestion is to research, just to add more research to go on with. But just to give you a heads up where you can talk about there is the trend becoming bit of a a higher trend, which was confirmed also. I just send you the article, so you could see there is a specialty tea is becoming increasing very popular. Okay, so I'll just post this article so that you all can. I'm just typing it on. So that article gives you an idea about the trends in the market. Especially for the European market. Now this was a 2015 article. Okay, but only the good thing about it is this whether now you have to identify whether any organizations have met these trends. Okay, because these trends are still on, because these are long-term trends. Specialty tea, the high-end market segment, so which I suppose very few companies operate on the high-end market segments, and also the convenience. Now, of course, convenience, the package, the what do you call, the instant tea has come in. So you are looking at sticks, flavors, different kinds of product. Obviously, you can work certain things out. So look at these innovations, look at these trends going on. Now, that's how you could come out with certain ideas in your mind, understanding what is happening in the market, because that's why the research is very important. That's why they have given the case also early, so that you know. One of the things that you can work on the hospitals also, look at what is not done in Sri Lankan market, why people travel overseas, for which medical services, what medical requirements is that can be brought in here. Is there certification could be obtained? Is there something that we could do differently? So think about on a different perspective. Yeah. So that is something that you could look into. So do a little bit more research. I'll also try and search new things to come up. So you need to identify, on that, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a tea expert or whatever. But then, it's all looking at the information what is available, and try and come into conclusion whether these trends have been met, and if the trends are not been met, then whether the trends are still on, and if the trends are on, then whether we could innovate some new ideas to come into that particular picture. That's one. The other one was talking about a weather condition. Can it be taken as a unique resource? Unfortunately, weather condition, the resources, it is an external resources to goes off with. The company don't own it. Okay, company don't own it. So this is the PESTEL framework, which will be coming in. Therefore, is external, not internal. So this will go as an opportunity for you. Yeah, not a resource. This will go as an opportunity because we are talking about the environmental there, the PESTEL framework. So there you could talk about a fantastic weather condition for this high grown tea to grow. I don't know whether you all, any one of you all in the tea industry, actually, something I learned is that the low grown tea versus high grown tea, the low grown teas are quite dark in nature when they brew. The high grown teas are they become very light. Yeah. that is simply because what I learned was it's the salt, contained in the air. Okay, because the low grown tea is the low country tea is it's not, it doesn't grow in the high elevated places. Okay, so they are closer to the sea. So the breeze which comes in, the air which comes in, air which where the estates are located, the air contains more sea salt than the air which flows into the hill countries. So the salt density in the air makes this tea dark and light. Okay, that's something what I learned. So you can always check. Don't take my word 100% because as I said, like I'm not a tea expert by any nature. All what I read and what I gather information, that's it. So have a discussion, have a research on that as well. Why this color tea differs. So and generally the Europeans prefer the lighter version than the darker version. But the people that's because it has been promoted only on the lighter version because they visit the hill countries to have tea, not the low countries to have tea. Yeah, so that's where the difference comes in. So probably we can introduce the black tea, also as a trend to go also off with. Yeah. So just see whether this article what I posted is any interest of your nature. Yeah, but thanks for asking that question, Ritma and Kiruchika. Yeah, so it's good, to put that question across. Right. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. The next one is strategic choices. Okay, the strategic choices, business level, corporate level, international, and innovation plus the evaluation. So as I said earlier, the strategic choices involves the future strategy, what you're going to work off with at both at the as a business as well as a corporate level. Yeah. And the option of developing strategies in terms of both directions and methods of development, the direction and methods as well. So let's look at, I'm going back to the questions again. This is what we started off with, the 14 questions. Now you can see on the strategic choices, what type of questions that you need to ask. How should business units compete? Business portfolio, where should the organization, how should organization compete internationally? Yeah, innovating appropriately, or whether you could do mergers and acquisitions and so forth. So on the strategic option, the choices what you have, the options, we are looking at basis of competitive strategy, either price based or differentiation based. The direction, whether you're going into consolidation, product development or service development or market development or diversification. Then on the method of pursuing strategies, you can see whether it is organic development or acquisition and mergers or alliances, whatever, or any combination of these three as well, right? Right. So when you look at the business level strategy, that is one of the this called the competitive strategies as well. Okay. So generally, how do we compete? Generally, how do you compete in the market? Either we compete on the price or the quality. Okay, that's a basic fundamental way do we compete, right? So Porter brought this competitive strategy. He identified three areas, that is differentiation, overall cost leadership, and the focus. Then this focus was divided into two, right? The focus was broken into two. Looking at the the organizational, the way that they want to compete off with. They looked at, so they looked at breaking that into two areas. So they looked at now this is focus differentiation for a particular segment only, and this is cost focus, right? So that's how it became 4 strategies on Porters. So what do we do now? What is the category? So ask this question on healthcare and on the product what we are talking about. Where do you operate? Do you think this company is a cost-focused company? Is it focusing on a certain location, or is it on a wider location, wider area? So that is like, whether it's trying to do a cost leadership, or is it on the differentiation strategy on an overall perspective, or whether it is going to cost focus on very specifically onto certain areas. So you need to make the decision. Where are the markets? The market is concentrated. I'm not going to answer the question now because I want you all to think over it. Okay, I want you all to think over it. Where do they operate? What do they operate? How do they work off it? Because we will have the answers, or the analysis of the case, on the next session. But then I'm just provoking a thought. I'm not going to give you all any concrete answers. Don't expect any answers from me because I also don't know any answers. Okay, so it's all it's good to go with a very open mind, without any prejudice, anything in your mind. Understand the case very well. Prepare for the case. Look at the market industry, how it operates. The fundamental details. How the successful companies have worked on with. What are the things that they do? Pick up those good positive aspects on the industry, and be very open about it. Okay, because I let me share that experience of being narrow-minded and going in for the exam versus the open-minded going for the exams. Okay, when I sat for my final, I'm not a chartered accountant per se. I'm a CIMA guy. So when I sat for my final, I went in for a seminar, and where I was asked, I hate numbers. Okay, to be very honest, I love the numbers, but I hate the financial debits and credits and things like that. So I was asked to do a cash flow statement. It's a must. It's a requirement. It has to be there. It has to reflect. So the emphasis was given to me, you must have a cash flow statement. Otherwise, you are lost in this particular case. So I had to memorize. I memorized it, obviously, right? So I memorized it and I went and dumped it. We can't take any written things onto the exam hall. Okay, so you have to, you have to memorize, and then I memorized and went and dumped it, and it took about good 15 to 20 minutes for me to complete that cash flow statement. Okay. Then I realized that it's not good because I didn't want to start off anything. I just went on, dumped it on, because I was very clearly said that, you go with that, you have to have that cash flow statement on, otherwise you can't do anything about it or whatever. Then to realize that, there is no requirement as such. So I wasted about 20 minutes unnecessarily. Okay. I came out of the examination hall. I marked for myself. It was easy to mark, you know exactly what you did. So it's easy to mark according to the matrix. So I got 49, and that's the result I got also. Okay, I got 49 for the first time. Right. Second time, I never went for any sessions conducted by overseas people. Okay, I did by myself, analyzed it, understood where I made the mistake. A complete open mind. There is nothing, no prejudice in my mind. Completely analyze the case, how it works and things like that. And I got about 73. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how it works. So go with the complete open mind. Don't block yourself. Don't get into that block mode. This must be the answer. This must be the answer. No, have a variety of options available. Okay. So, but the good thing is to identify who you are now. So now what you are doing? Are you on a differentiation strategy? Are you on a overall cost leadership strategy? Or are you on a focus differentiation? Or are you on a cost focus? So I hope you all know the difference between those, because I'm not going to explain that, right? So that's something that you need to identify and understand. Otherwise, you can use this strategic clock by Bauman. Very interesting. Are you on a low price, low value addition strategy on? But I don't think so. Yeah, very clearly doesn't indicate that way. Or are you on a low price? Is the price is lower than your competitors? Or are you on a hybrid strategy? Yeah, you're on a differentiation strategy. Are you on a focus differentiation strategy, or any other 3 strategies which are destined to fail, right? So if you look at the no-frill strategy, you're looking at it is basically a commodity market, like salt, your flour, things like that. So it is for the price sensitive customers. So is your customers also very price sensitive? They don't mind getting anything for a lowest price, the cheapest price to go off with. I doubt. So that is, it's not going to be the work. That's not going to be work on, right? So that no need to concentrate very much on this particular strategy. Is that a strategy that you're going to look into market as a whole, going on a low price strategy? Although you can see that, okay, your perceived value addition is there to a good extent, better than the low value addition. Perceived value addition there to the good extent, but then your price is also lower than what it could be. Yeah, that's because probably you want to enter into new markets, or you want to be the cheapest than your competitors. So whatever the basis, you could do that. So low price, only thing is you have to be very careful about the pitfalls. Okay, so low price means low margins. Low margins means investments, reinvestments are going to be lower, right? So then that margin reduction, your shareholders are not going to be very happy about it, right? So reinvestment is going to be low. Then probably you might be creating a price war, because the moment now this is exactly what happened to the telecom industry. Okay, so the moment you start, there is no major difference in the product. So you reduce the price. You mean to say customers are the competitors are just going to keep quiet? No, they will not be keeping quiet. Okay, so they will start reducing the price. So how far that you can go on like that? At one particular point, then you start bleeding. Yeah. So when you start bleeding, how long you can bleed, right? When I say bleed, that you're gonna your numbers are going to be red, right? So how long you can be on red? How long you can hold on to it? Okay. So are you knocking on with a person who has a huge capacity than you? Are you dealing with a multinational organization, like for example, like Lipton, on a different perspective? Are you dealing with a well-established organization like Dilma? Are you going to compete, and you're going to miserably fail because you can't hold on to what they could hold on? Yeah, so because they are all well established, and they could work, they could have a better say in the market, right? So now this is what are the effect that it's going to go off with? Okay, the telecom industry I just spoke to you about. So the danger is, like, as I said, the competitors might follow suit. Okay, so they also will do. And let me ask you a question. The moment you walk into a supermarket, okay, then you see buy one get one free, right? Probably these days it will be interesting, because we try to maximize whatever the spending that we are doing to get the quantity also. With the quantity we try to get it out. So probably we will go closer and see. Especially these things comes with, now of course it's very difficult because there is no imported products, many imported products in the shelves, so you don't see that now. But what do you see? You take the product and turn to the expiry date. Yeah. So people have that. It's a bias psychology. Okay, there is nothing wrong with it. The bias psychology. So the people who buying the product, okay, would have the same problem. The moment you say the lower price, they immediately check on the quality, right? So they associate quality with the price, right? So then if your price is going to be lower, immediately they think that your quality is also low. So then your route 2 becomes route 1. Yeah. So they think that your quality is low, that's why you're giving the low price, right? So those are the dangers what you operate. I'm skipping the route 3 and going into route 4. Let me come back to route 3. That's a hybrid model, right? So differentiation, of course, very clear. You differentiate yourself from others. Pure justification, like why you have to pay a better price because you have high quality product than the competitors. You can see that very clearly. Okay, very high quality. The price is also quite on the expensive side, but the people will buy it because their quality is good. Okay, so and this differentiation strategy on Porter's generic model, you could see that they are on a mass market, okay, the bigger market, right? The differentiation strategy, you need to look into few things, okay? Number one, you need to understand what the strategic customer wants. We saw who the strategic customers are, who could influence your sales, right? Then number two, you need to identify what the competitors are also doing, right? So accordingly, then you can do that differentiation strategy to go off it. The hybrid model is a combination of the low price and the differentiation strategy. So we try to achieve the lower price, but you can see the quality is at the highest level. Yeah, the quality at the high level, but the pricing we try to achieve at the lower price. Now, whether it is possible, now this is what Michael Porter talked about, stuck in the middle cases. Okay, if you take just to give you an example to understand a little bit more better, your Toyota would fall into cost leadership, where your Mercs would fall into differentiation. Let's say your Citroen, okay, Citroen Saab would fall into the middle category. Yeah, they're stuck in the middle. They want to have that quality, but the price is also, they want to make it lower. Price is not much as the Mercedes, but then the quality is not much as quite high quality than Toyota to go off with. So they're stuck. So Michael Porter, what he said was that it's very difficult to provide a high quality product at the lower price. Yeah. So obviously for reasons, right? He never encouraged, but then people proved it wrong. Okay, people proved it wrong because you can do that when your volumes are higher. So because the price reduction would compensate your volume growth, then it's fine. Okay, and the cost is reduced, yeah, outside that differentiated area. Let me I will explain to you when I take that example, right? The cost reduction is taken from the differentiated area. You're not touching that differentiation point. Okay, you're not going to remove the quality of the product, but then you remove the certain cost factors outside that, the quality aspect of it, right? So that's what you do. And probably generally we can use this as an entry strategy because we give a high quality product at a lower price, then everybody would love it, but then it could be misunderstood as dumping as well. Okay. Now these two organizations, I believe you all know it. Okay. IKEA is a furniture company. They manufacture furnitures. And they pack it on the flat packs, easy to carry home packs. And Tesco is a supermarket chain, which is also quite interesting supermarket chain. Now, let me take example of each. Tesco is very good on the private labeling. Okay, you know what private labeling means, right? So say for example, if I don't have any label, my label is not recognized. So I go and give my product to Tesco. Tesco puts their label onto my product, looking at the quality of the product, and then they put it on their shelf, right? Fine, no issues. As long as I'm getting paid, I don't care, right? Very good. Now, when Tesco realizes that this product is very fast moving, pretty good, can make good money out of it. Let's say at the initial stage that I have brought 5,000 units, they will buy the 5,000 units and they will ask me the price. Okay, let me say it's 10 pounds. So they will add 2 pounds, 12 pounds and put it on the shelf to see what is the reaction. So 12 pounds, the product went as, hot butter, just melted away. Then, Tesco calls me and says, okay, now I want 500,000 units. What do I do? Now I was manufacturing only 5,000 units. Now I need 500,000 units. Obviously, you could see the cost efficiencies will strike in. Okay, your economy of scale will come in. So your prices will reduce. The cost of the manufacturing will reduce tremendously because you'll be working very closely with those the raw material buying and reduction in the price and the overall manufacturing and everything. Okay, so let's say now it is the cost is not 10 pounds. Okay, the cost is like 5 pounds, 6 pounds. So what would Tesco do is like they will still keep the $2, 2 pounds for them. So they get like they're paying 6 pounds for me, and then they will take the 2 pounds plus 2 pounds, 8 pounds. Earlier they were selling at 12. Now the customer is looking at, wow, same product which is coming cheaper at 8, and that will be bought like nothing. Okay, people would really love it. People would be happy, that they've been part of it. So then they will, they will see that they're getting a better deal. So they will buy, right? No reduction in quality. Only difference is like you are able to use the economy of scale and reduce the cost tremendously. So the cost reduction is outside that, the quality zone. Okay, so nothing wrong in that, right? Nothing wrong in that. Pretty good. The IKEA, on the other hand, okay, IKEA, on the other hand, how do they manufacture their furnitures? How do they have it? They have it in the flat packs. Who takes it home? The customers. So that means the final transport cost is now reduced. Yeah, is 0. So when it takes home, who would fix it? It's a consumer who fixes it. So the final labor cost is also reduced. When you have the flat packs, is it easy to transport? Yes, of course it is easy to transport rather than the finished box. Okay, so if the box is like, if you go with a flat pack, probably if you can carry 20 tables, if it is fixed, probably you can carry only 3 tables. So your cost of transport is also now reduced. Cost of storage will be reduced because now you don't need big warehouses. So if you look at all these points, the quality is not compromised. Okay, quality is not compromised. The what you get is outside your quality area. You manage to reduce the cost from outside your quality area, right? So then the hybrid strategy works, right? Later on, Microport agreed that that could work. Then the focus differentiation. Focus differentiation, of course, it's for a niche market. Few players, few people are there to buy. Definitely, nobody's going to ask the question like how much the price is, because it's been purely justified without any problems that the price you charge is fully worth it, and it tells you like because it operates on a very niche market, smaller market, people like it. Yeah. So they call the niche market to go off with So it completely overrules the what do you call the price. People will not be bothered to answer the price, and they will just buy it off. Yeah. You could see the Bugatti Veyron, $1.9 million dollars, not rupees. And you could see the 2021 prices, 22 prices. I just got it. They are a bit expensive, but you know, I thought of having these 2021 prices itself. Bugatti Veyron is the cheapest in their range. Okay, so you can see that Bugatti La Voiture Noah is like about $12 million, right? So it's not very. Uh, so nobody asked. Okay, so if you have a Bugatti Veyron, nobody is going to ask you, like, you know, how much to pay for it or whatever it is. But then the people who owns a Noah would know. You know, the Bugatti Veyron is on 1.9, whereas Noah is about 12 million, right? So it's like having a C series Mercedes versus a series Mercedes. Yeah, so that kind of a story, right? I believe by reading these names that you might know what are these products are. So Burger number 160 is $30 million. Hublot Big Bang is 5 million. You know what Hublot brand is. Okay, so the watch brand that you're looking at. But the interesting part is like Graf Diamond Hernication is $55 million. You know, so if you're interested to buy, because it is started with all gems and you know, the diamonds. So there's about 55 million. So just imagine, like, you know, people who could own these products. Yeah. This is the interesting part. Gurkha's His Majesty's Reserve. The cigars would cost you around $750 to $1,500 per stick. Yeah. These are cigars, right? So you can convert it to Sri Lankan rupee. Let's say $1,000, 1,000 into 360. You're looking at 367,000 rupees a cigar. Okay. Just a suruk. Okay. So cigar is 300. So now this is the difference. This is the difference. Okay. I don't have time to explain why this is so expensive, but search if you are really interested to know why this is so expensive. Obviously, these are coming from Cuba, the best cigar place, and obviously, you know, the people, you know, how it is manufactured, why it is manufactured. So it has very high standards to work out with. It has a pretty good brand, which is long-standing, and you know, so the process is different. It caters to a market at 370,000 rupees. Yeah, so that's how it works. So a few issues on focus differentiation. There's a clash between the strategies between broad differentiation and focus differentiation. So especially if you have you know, products operating in that particular segment, like, you know, in Sri Lankan context, you know, in 80s, not very long time ago, in 80s, if you see a Mercedes on the road, then if you miss it, like, you have missed it for a long period. Okay. Now, of course, Mercedes is Mercedes. Like, you know, everybody, yeah, you don't miss a Mercedes. Like, you know, you miss one, then in another maybe a couple of seconds, that there's another Mercedes going on the road. You know, so that kind of a story, right? So that's how it is. You know, it might be difficult to maintain now. Say, for example, look at now. Unilever has 3 brands of washing powder operating in Sri Lanka itself. Okay, Surf Excel, Sunlight detergent powder, and Rin, right? So why it is on 3 different price levels? Why it is so? The confusion might occur. Looking at the Volkswagen Group, you know, they have so many of vehicles, so many cars coming up, and you know, it's very difficult to identify and understand, like, you know, from where they operate and how they operate and so forth. So focus differentiation would have a certain issues, because the people who are on that are very influential. They might, just don't, they might reject the products, and then you're in quite a big trouble. Okay, so very limit to grow. You can see it right on the top. So it's very difficult to that particular page to enlarge. Okay. Your route number 6, 7, 8, they are destined to fail. You can see high price, no differentiation, high price, worst product, same price, worst product. Okay, so that's your the strategy is what is possible. Now you better identify in this particular case which strategy that organization is following on T, which strategy is organization following on your hospitals and medical side of it, and the type of strategy that they could follow. Whether the people would go, you are looking at high end, the type of organization that you are, how long you have been in the market, whether you have been, we're looking at 65, 70 years in the market, then what you are doing, whether it is right, so that you need to justify, identify. And probably then you will understand what is next that we can work things out. There's another way of doing things. Rather than competing, you can always collaborate as well. Collaborate with your competitors. Because sometimes you don't go to certain places, but your competitors can go to certain places, because the competitor might be also be interested to collaborate with you, because they don't have the product what you have, but they have the market. Yeah, so then they could name them into their product, because their product is known into that particular market to go out of it. So it's very interesting. How the people, while competing, they collaborate. Okay. Ideal scenario is the airlines. Okay, airlines work on collaboration while they compete, so they know exactly how much they could get help from the other airlines, and how much they could provide help to the other airlines too. Now, say for example, Sri Lankan Airlines do not fly to New York, but British Airways flies to New York. Since you're on a One World Alliance, you have the access of British Airways, so you can carry a passenger up to London, and from London, the British Airways would carry that passenger to New York. So you're selling a ticket where even you are not gone. Okay, you are not even going, right? Now you could see how the airline tickets are now. They are the mobile, right? You do not even take a printout now. You don't need to take a printout. Okay, they are on mobile. So if everybody is now using that, then you can tell your customer also to do the same. Okay, you download and you keep it on your mobile phone. That's good enough, right? So that's good enough for the proof, rather than you carry a hard copy and scan it and things like that. So you can do that. That's one. And also so you can sell destinations where you are not flying, and you can share that work with your the customers, so customers can take the printouts, whatever that they want to. You don't have to provide. So there are so many, and which will give them the ability to satisfy the stakeholders' expectation also, because the stakeholders wants a little bit more, and which you are not operating. So by collaborating that, you could provide that similar facilities to the person, the similar facilities to your customers. So obviously, increased price, buying power is increased. When you operate same aircraft, so similar aircraft, you can ask for earlier, if they are looking only for 200 meals, and let's say they give a price at so let's say $7. Now you can ask, because your other airlines are also selling you, then your capacity would be increased to 250. So then probably you can gain price reduction on the meals itself. Increase barriers to entry. When you combine, collaborate, Now, say for example, from Australia to UK, it's Qantas and British Airways operate on direct flights. Okay, other airlines no. So other airlines don't fly direct. They fly via the Singapore or Bangkok or Hong Kong or Indonesia. So they fly via some point. Okay, not directly. So where the services are available on the long term. So your substitution also, the risk also reduced because since the people have choices, substitution is searched because when people don't have choices, now you have more choices. So your substitution is also reduced. New entry into market, as I said, like, even there's no space that you don't have any access to the new market, but your partner has, so you can access the new market to go off with. Work is shared with the customers. Now nobody complains. Or take a photocopy and come, or put it on your mobile phone and come come to the airport. Nobody complains about it. And obviously, as I said, finally the stakeholder expectation also could be fulfilled because better profits can come in because you're operating on areas where you don't have the reach. Okay, that's so one side is gone. Then we'll get to the next area, right? At the corporate level. So corporate level, how do you grow on the option that we need to grow? So either the corporate strategy could pursue either by growing by yourself, internal development, right? Internally, like Marks and Spencers. Okay, so they don't acquire. They all depend on their own profits. They keep on their own profits, and then they get ready and they go off. If I had to give you an explanation about how these three things, okay, let me finish that and get back to you on that. Then mergers and acquisition. You can acquire a firm. Okay, you can acquire something because you could acquire an organization because that you don't have the market of the products, what they do with, or maybe the technology per se. So you could acquire and become big overnight. Or you can have a strategic alliance. Okay, so you can form a strategic alliance like what I discussed earlier. So you could, especially the airline industry, that they do strategic alliance. Now, if I have to explain to you on a simple, understandable way with our life, the organic development is like, before you get married, you do a job, you save money, you build a house, you buy a car, then you get married. Okay, so your development is coming through internally by you. The second one, mergers and acquisition. Mergers is quite friendly. Acquisition is quite hostile. So mergers is like, you're getting married to somebody with their willingness, who has everything what you want. Okay, so like your dowry, you get your house, you get your car, whatever, right? So probably that is true. The third one, like, it is tougher, something like living together business. Okay, so you take care of certain things and I will take care of certain things. So you create a strategic alliance. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yeah, so this type of combination. So look at in your case, is there any possibility of doing it? So how long that you have been operating? Is it now better to acquire an organization? I suppose that is also visible over there, right? So just you can see whether this could be linked up. The options could be worked out to your organization. Then let's look at the strategic direction. We saw the pursuing of strategies. Now let's look at the strategic direction. Taking the transfer matrix to goes off with, where you're looking at two variables. That is the market, whether it is how the market is going to grow, and the product intent for sale, right? So whether it's got a new market or the existing market, or the product which is a new product or existing product, right? So you have the four combinations going on. So on the first one that you are looking at, the existing product in the existing market, you call it market penetration, or sometimes you do a consolidation. Yeah, you can call it consolidation, because in certain cases that you might have to defend your property, you have to defend your market share. Okay, so for that means you're operating on the existing market, the existing product, to make sure that you keep your market share intact. This is especially when your competitor is on a rampage. Okay, they do a street fight. They work, and they they want to give a tough time to you, so that they reduce the price or increase the volumes and give the trade discounts and do a consumer push, consumer pull, with all those things. So it's time for you to settle down, hold on to your market share, not lose many, because it's not possible for organization to push it for further. Yeah. So then they would try to hold on to their market position. Or you can do the penetration. You can increase the market usage of your product, can increase the usage of your product in a more, what do I say, by the way of doing certain marketing tactics. Like you can do a piggybacking. Yeah, piggybacking is when you tag your product with another product which has more penetration. Now, say for example, if you're looking at toothpaste, okay, Signal has about 65 to 70% of the market penetration, where Sunlight has about 90% of the market penetration. So if you want to introduce something new, you can tag it along with the Sunlight, and Sunlight would carry you into the houses which you might not have gone. Yeah, so you can ask them to use your product by the form of giving it free for the start, and then you can charge them when they buy. And also, generally, what you do is like you could do a marketing strategy, like if you remember the brushing your teeth. Earlier it was only in the night, in the morning. Then they start advertising by saying, night if you sleep, without brushing, there'll be big holes coming in your teeth, and all this, they will fight, and you are not done your washing properly, and things like that. Okay, so then they say, okay, therefore, brush in the night also. What happens? The volume doubles. The volume doubles. So now this is one of the reasons that you could do even the drinking tea. Okay, just to give you an idea. Okay, drinking tea. You have been drinking tea from morning and the afternoon tea. Yeah, right. Evening tea or whatever it is. So then why don't you ask them to drink tea for the better digestion every time you have a meal? Yeah, so that means like you're increasing from 2 teas to 5 teas. Yeah, breakfast, after breakfast tea, after lunch tea, after dinner tea. Not bad, okay? Yeah, so you see the volume goes up, right? So the volumes goes up. So you could do that. And I'm just giving you a idea now. Don't try and think that this is the only thing that that you could do, because I want you to come out, understand the concept, and I want you to come create those strategies to work off. Yeah. So that's your market penetration strategy to go off with. Then market extension, probably the same product, but you already have now, and look for new markets. What are the markets that you've been operating? You know it better. What are the markets that you have missed out? There you go. Take them to the new market. Possible? Maybe standardize. Yeah, maybe standardize will be possible. So think of that. Then you can do product development. Now this is something, but the article also what I sent you. Yeah, convenience. They're looking for tea convenience. They don't want to stay in it. They don't want to do it unless you can give it for the traditional people that really want to work through your a hot cup of tea with the right brewing. But then we know that this younger generation is not interested in giving the light uh, taking their time and doing the proper way. So probably you might need something like instant coffee, probably instant tea, which is available right now. Yeah, it is available even in Sri Lanka. It's available in the local market. It's available. So do something very different. Do something very different with different flavors. Flavors which you have never thought of. Like I don't know. Maybe you could mix up with tea and maybe the herbs, which are pretty good. Maybe cardamom, maybe which is very good. Now you could see that chai wala brings that particular different formation, different element onto the tea. It's just a tea, but then not just a tea now, right? So that's how it works differently. Or you can do a diversification. Yeah. Probably you can do a related diversification. So you can even buy more estates or buy companies which is related to your products and services, what you're doing. That's one. Or you can even go and own some shops in those markets. So you become your customer. So you can sell the products also there. So there are different ways of, different ways and different things could happen in diversification. Now that's related diversification. Unrelated diversification, you can become a conglomerate. Okay, you can even look for new other products with the experience what you have in tea. You can even look for spices. You can look for which you can use it for the add them into their current tea in a different perspective. So probably they may be having different products in the market. So you need to identify. So the unrelated diversification would give you something not what you're doing. Like probably you could have like what the Cargill identity, very very interesting. Okay, Cargill has backward and forward integration. Backward, they have their factories, the food processing factories, the Kotmale, not Kotmale, Kotmale, yes, Kotmale, and other products, the dairy products on, and forward, they have their own supermarket chains, okay? Apart from that, non-related diversification, they have a bank, yeah, so, and they have certain hotels, so forth. So totally they are on to following up these anthropometric directions what they would do, right? So these are few suggestions that you can think of into your product, into your case itself. The risk increases, okay? The risk increases the moment you start going outwards, not inwards, okay? So creation of a new product is risky, right? Going into a new market is risky, but comparatively, going into the new market is less riskier than the product development, less riskier than developing a new product. Yeah, because if the new product fails, even the old products also could have a big impact, right? So obviously you would see what it is, and you could arrange the organizations to look into having different kinds of business to grow. So the diversification is the most highest risk element than the product development. The product development also carries a risk, so that if the new product fails, the old products also could have a bad image. Yeah, so you have to be a bit careful. and the development cost of a product is quite expensive than moving into a new location. Right. So you could see the options that we have created. Different kinds of options for the competitive base, the direction base, the pursuing the growth also, right? So furthermore, looking at the corporate strategy, looking at a portfolio, a BCG matrix looks into two variables, looking at the business strength and the market attractiveness. Yeah, so you could see the indicators, your industry annual growth rate versus your company's market share, relative market share to the largest competitor. What are the products that you could plot here in your organization? Because this could be SBUs, this could be brands, anything what is convenient to you. So try and plot it out for you. Okay, try and plot it out and see with the details what you have, whether you could fill this answer matrix, whether your product is on the developmental stage, whether it's a question mark, has it not reached the levels over there, or whether it is whether it's a cash cow, whether it is giving you enough money now. So because you need some cash cow to maintain the stars and also to support the question marks. So stars would give you the revenue, but of course you have to keep on supporting it. Yeah, you have to keep on supporting it, right? So stars, you need to support the stars as well. So by the way of advertising, keeping asking people to remember, making the choices. So those are the plus side of it, plus aspect of it. Yep. So then you have to see whether there are any dogs. But the thing is, like, you have to be careful when you're kicking any dog out. The answer to that is like to remove the dog from your portfolio, because it is on a very low growth market and a very minor market share. So even if you work it out, even if you don't want the dog can held on if it is giving you a contribution. You know what contribution is, okay? Sales price minus the marginal cost. So if it is giving the contribution, hold on to it, because then if it contributes, then probably that would help you in reducing the FC, fixed cost, right? Then probably see whether the dog could be revamped again. Yeah, whether it could be revamped, whether it could you could relaunch it. A lot of products been relaunched. Number three, see whether that there's a connection between your star products. Now, to give you an example, Nestle's Nescafe and the creamer. Okay, so creamer is a dog where the market is really low. There's a low growth market. The creamer market is not very high. It's a dying market, but still the Nestle's hold on to its creamer. It's because that has a connection with the Nescafe. Because Nescafe is the number one brand. Okay, Nestamalt is in Sri Lanka, but Nescafe is the number one brand for them, right? So you need to be careful when you're looking at kicking a dog out of your portfolio, right? So make sure that it doesn't give you any contribution. Make sure that that has no connection with your main product, and make sure that it cannot be revamped. Okay, but just to give you a idea on the revamp, if you're owning any sunglasses which will be worn by your grandmothers, that will be the fashion what is now today. Okay, so you hold on to these sunglasses for your grandchildren. Definitely this fashion will come back again. After so many years, right? Maybe after 35 years or whatever it is, right? So then hold on to it. That's how it works. Internationally, you can see the international strategies. Now this is once again when you're moving out of when you're going out of and selecting a place where you can base yourself or start a business, identify through your Porter's diamond theory. Okay, because the country, if they have an advantage to work off with, right? Factors of production, the demand conditions, related and supporting industries, the firm infrastructure and development, rivalry. So informal culture, the formal culture, regulations, and also the political aspect of it also need to be considered if you when you're going to move out of your, like, you know, when you're going to have established in a different location. If you see the two industries in Sri Lanka, which are growing and which are prospering, and you could see how that will give that how the Sri Lanka as a nation has that advantage. Okay, let's start with one, which is the tourism. Okay, factors of production, definitely we have fantastic beaches, fantastic location. Now even tea, okay, even tea, superb locations. The climate is extremely good. Within a small distance of travel, you can go from the low ground to the high ground. Yeah, very, very interesting. Very, as a location, it's fantastic. And also you have people to go through the process. But the problem is now we are facing that critical issue there. Okay, less people to pluck, less people to prepare. So once again, there's a bigger hope you need to produce, right? So we have to see whether the labor force could be provided, the knowledgeable labor force could be provided in the tea industry, right? So far, yes, we have, right? But then whether we could sustain it is a question mark. Then the demand condition, even in the local perspective, okay? Local, we love tea, right? The same way, tourism, we love to travel internally, okay? So you go, when tsunami hit, or when COVID hit, you know, the local hotels survived with the local people, right? Not anybody else, right? So you need to be careful on that, right? So there's a demand because the customers knows exactly what we want. Okay, we are quite sophisticated customers. Then related and supporting industries. If we're looking at tea, probably our R&D is quite poor. We are not established at the garment industry. Although the tea is one of the oldest, the commodities that we sell. You know, the institutes, what it's governing it, are not very actively involved. Yeah. So you need support on that particular element to work off it. So you could see, like that, you can analyze to see whether the place where you're going to go, whether it is suitable, right? Whether it is suitable for anything to go off with. At the corporate level, you can decide whether you want to do an export, whether you want to go on a multi-domestic strategy, whether you want to do a global strategy, whether you want to do a transnational combination of multi-domestic and global strategy to go off with. Yeah. So you could see the need for the global integration, that is like your cost of the production, the economies of scale will be utilized, and need for the local responsiveness, right? So global strategy is completely like the Coca-Cola. They're not worried about, you know, the preference of the local preferences. You can see that, you know, they are very much low on the need for the local responsiveness, right? So they don't cater. Tea also could be made that way, right? Tea also could be made that way. But then you have to realize that, you know, certain region, the people love the black tea. Certain region, they prefer the lighter version. Yeah. So then we have to be careful on that. Since we have both, that we could do both, right? So there's no major problem. So global strategy is that, you know, you don't make any major changes. Then you have this multi-domestic strategy, completely focus on the local requirement. local perspective. So you can see that Lipton 3-star or the tea also that they talk about, putting up herbs into that and giving it to you and so forth. The translation is a combination of the global integration. That means you try to get the best out of your supply chain, and also you try to respond to the local needs, like your Signal Herbal, Lux Herbal. So it's all those things are they are not available in other parts of the world. Okay, they are very specific to our part of the world because that's how they see how you could give that local flavor. Yeah. So you can decide on this aspect, like how do you want your product strategies to work on with, right? I've explained. Right. Then the other thing what you have to decide is like, how are you going to enter into those markets? Whether you're going to go export, licensing, strategic alliances, or you can acquire somebody over there, or completely go with the greenfield analysis, greenfield investment. Yeah. Not a brownfield investment. Brownfield investment is what is something over there. You can do that also. Greenfield is that you're going to dig up, completely own a new company or factory, a combination of both, and do that. So you could choose. Now you could decide, knowing the facts you are reading, after reading the cases, which way is the most suitable way to you can keep it in your mind. Okay, so justify whether these characters are fulfilling the requirement and work on that. The risk, you will have the political and environmental risk will be, economic risk will be there. Political risk is like, you could have military engagements, issues might come like, on unpredictable outcomes of the strike, like what happened in Sri Lanka too. Yeah. Then, the people might turn into protectionism. Certain things that you manufacture, they might say it's only for the local use, or they will protect the local manufacturing plant aspect of it. So political instabilities. So you need to be aware. This risk will be available on political basis. On economic, like what's happening in Sri Lanka currently, it's a classic case. Okay, it's a classic case where remittances will have a problem. They're talking about challenges of China in implementing the World Trade Organization. So it's part of it now. So it's difficult to be fair trade to work things out. There are counterfeit products coming in, where sometimes you might not be able to convert your foreign currencies into where you want to send it across. So those issues also could come in, when you're working on international. Right. Now, once you have these strategies on, let's look at, how do we convert once you have these options, once you have this information with you in your hand, when you do this analysis. I'm sure if you have a SWOT matrix with you, right? Then how do you convert that SWOT into TOS? Then from there you can work things out. Okay. Now this TOS matrix is something very interesting to identify. Creation of different strategies accordingly. So if you see here, you're going to list down, you're going to list down all your strengths, all your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. Now, don't think there's only 1 to 5, okay? Don't think there's only 1 to 5, but there could be, now this might be 12, this might be 8, this might be 7, this might be 6, yeah? So don't think it's only 5 because it's for the convenience that they have said. Of course, please remember to pick only the most important critical ones. Remember when I started in the morning, what I said? It has to be, your justification should be the important and the new version ones. What is happening currently? Yeah, what is on with you? So once you link that, you see creation of a, for example, okay, creation of a SO strategy with the strength, utilizing the opportunity. So I will put S1, O1. I will do the strategies. We will talk about the the strategies later slide, but I'm just telling you, like, you can create this way, right? So you could create many strategies as possible, whatever, right? So you have a lot of options now, a lot of strategies that you can create. Okay. So hang on, guys. Right. So you are looking at internal strength and external opportunities, SO strategies. How can they use the strengths of the organization to benefit from the existing external opportunities? Okay. Same way, internal strength and external threats, ST strategies. How can they benefit from their strength to avoid or lessen the potential external threats? Same way, internal weaknesses and external opportunities. How can they use the opportunities to overcome organizational internal weaknesses? And here, how they can minimize the weaknesses, thus avoid the potential threats. So, if you don't have a very good relationship with your labor union, okay, so that may be a weakness, right?